Good evening. This is Matt Mead, Governor of Wyoming. I want to welcome all of you to the Governor's 30th Annual Art Award celebration. This award show is important as it was started by Governor Hathaway and Bobby, who recognized that art in Wyoming enriches our lives in so many ways, including, I would remind you, the economy. Thank you all for being here tonight. Have a great evening.
And I'd like to congratulate the 4 winners from Lander, Wyoming tonight, an organization called PALS, promoting arts in Lander schools.
PALS brings people in from all over the country, big names to us in Little Lander, population 7,000. We feel like that living in a small town doesn't stop anything.
The next award is for the Arts Patron, and that goes to Dr. Thickman.
Pine Bluffs is a town of about 1,100 people, 1,150. Because of Dr. Thickman, the town of Pine Bluffs has been able to host very talented musicians who have performed around the world, including Carnegie Hall.
The next award goes to individual artist Michael Polson.
It's an incredible story. From his story from being diagnosed with leukemia to now, he's put every piece of energy and passion to every piece of his art.
Tonight's Arts Business Award goes to the Eagle Bronze Foundry.
The Paddlefords are totally unique. Their contributions to art, not only in Lander or in Wyoming or across the country or around the world, is really spectacular.
Thank you all so much, and we'll see you later on this evening. From Lander, Wyoming, promoting arts in Lander schools. And they do just that, bring art programs to Fremont County schools. 60 volunteers work for PALS, contributing about $50,000 a year worth of services to the schools.
PALS is promoting arts in Lander schools, and they're a not-for-profit organization that brings in different groups and different artists to Lander, which is a small town, and you wouldn't think that we would be immersed in those types of things, but they bring in artists and they bring in different musical groups, and they allow them to perform in front of our students, and they allow our students to interact with those different groups so that we can kind of get a feel for the different types of art in our world.
PALS started 10-12 years ago as an offshoot of our parent organizations at each of our local schools. We had representatives or the chairs from each of those organizations decide to come together under this one umbrella, but it's all been volunteer, donation-driven, just passion for the arts and for getting our kids more exposure and opportunity to be involved in it.
One of the goals of the strategic plan for the district is to have community involvement. I mean, we have a lot of very good, qualified teachers and staff here, but they can't be everything. And we've got a lot of talent in this community, whether it's ranchers, whether it's outdoor leadership school, whether it's the government agencies, whether it's the private businesses, and to get the best education for our kids and as broad and unique as possible, we want to be able to tap into those community resources when we can, and PALS has been a good mesh with the district in pulling in outside artists, either from the local community or nationwide, to give an experience to our children that they might not otherwise get.
We're really fortunate to have incredible support from the school district. They are so welcoming and encouraging of the programming that we do. I mean, to me, the most exciting thing about PALS is to see kids maybe who've been struggling with pencil and paper, who aren't the stars of the class.
We speak about being college-driven. We speak about being core-driven, and when I mean core, it's that English, math, science, social studies. And sometimes we lose sight of the outside of it, the music, the arts, the dance, the pottery. And if you notice, most of our students that are involved in the arts do really well in their other classes as well. And so they're using their left side and their right side of their brain. If they aren't driven in college as far as the arts, they still have that piece to take with them as they move on to the future.
If you let students act things out, if you let them express themselves, if they're using paint and a brush, or they're using their bodies, or they're using their voices, they can internalize the content that they're trying to learn, and they can express it, and then they understand it.
So I play the violin, and Pals has helped me performing on stage because I've had the experience of performing on stage before with Pals, so I can feel more comfortable performing on stage by myself.
We give kids hands-on opportunities as well as the opportunity to be an audience member for a world-class performance of the Utah Symphony, for example, or the San Diego Ballet.
Ever since we moved here, I moved here in first grade, and the first year that we were here, Pals had the San Diego Ballet come, and I was able to be a ginger snap, which is the one underneath the big mother ginger skirt that gets to run out. And so that was like super fun because every little ballerina's dream is to dance with prima ballerinas and to get there. And so that was really like a key thing in me wanting to be a dancer, seeing these beautiful dancers on stage on point, and I just wanted to be there. And so that was really cool and inspiring to me.
We have the Dancing Alphabet troupe visiting our school, and they are out of Jackson. And what they do is they come into the school each year and they help reinforce what the teachers have taught the children throughout the school year.
One of the most important people that I've ever met that's influenced my creativity would definitely be Babs Case out of Jackson, Wyoming.
Pals has been amazing in the way that they've brought and continue to bring arts to the schools, and it will affect children forever. It will be something that they will take beyond the walls of the schools.
She was my first dance instructor, and she's the one that kind of got me started realizing that arts can really further your education, and arts can further who you are, help you as a person and make you a better person, and it makes you a more diverse person and allows you to express yourself through different outlets.
I'm glad that Pals got the government award because of all they do in Lander.
Congratulations to Pals, and we are so excited that they are a part of Lander Valley High School and that our kids have this opportunity to see things outside of the community, not just what's happening inside the walls at Lander Valley High School. So congratulations.
We certainly couldn't have come this far without everybody's support and enthusiasm for promoting the arts in Lander and in the Lander schools, but without the collaboration of everybody on this, we wouldn't have been as successful as we are today. So it's great to feel that everybody's efforts is appreciated, and we certainly appreciate the support back and the recognition from the state and the governor himself.
Congratulations, Pals!
The next award is for the Arts Patron, and that goes to Dr. Thickman. Dr. Thickman has sponsored classical music all across Wyoming, and in fact has reached 33 of our Wyoming communities, and it's a pleasure to recognize you tonight.
Well, welcome to Lusk and the Women's Penitentiary. I was in private practice for 40 years, then went to the VA for 15 years.
Dr. Thickman is the most amazing person because he is constantly on the go.
I came to the penitentiary system and enjoy that because it's such a different experience.
When he's home, after he makes his rounds at Lusk and Newcastle.
And one of the things that we're planning to do is to bring the concert to the penitentiaries. We have provided funds for this to happen. It's generally a soloist and an accompanist, and they provide 8 to 10 concerts in 1 week.
He's constantly doing something. Very seldom even hardly see him walking. Most of the time he's kind of running wherever he goes.
It gives them an opportunity to talk to the audience, and the audience, of course, comparably an opportunity to talk to them.
He funds those things which brings learning opportunities to the community, that present opportunities for people in small communities to experience cultural diversity.
The Piatigorsky Foundation is committed in its mission to provide concerts for relatively unserved areas.
Opportunities that they wouldn't have in their normal everyday lives. I think he's quite passionate about that.
Now, I saw Gregor Piatigorsky in Carnegie Hall in New York. But the way it came about is that Piatigorsky's grandchild is Evan Druckmann.
He became involved and he helped to put the Piatigorsky Foundation in contact with and in collaboration with the Wyoming Arts Council. And this has helped tremendously. This has made Wyoming one of our flagship states.
Evan Druckmann and one of my sons are friends. And Druckmann is president of the Piatigorsky Foundation.
And really wonderful places to play in every small town throughout the state of Wyoming. We are currently this season going to be doing not one but 2 concert tours throughout the state so that geographically we can reach the far corners of Wyoming.
We had a group on the western part of the state, one on the eastern. Evan Druckmann was the celloist on the western part. Evan has been very well trained as a cellist. He's using his grandfather's Stradivarius, incidentally.
Dr. Thickman did sponsor this concert for the Piatigorsky Foundation with Evan Druckmann, a cellist. And the concert, the second one that I saw, was at Buffalo High School. And so there was a wonderful opportunity for the people in Buffalo to share in this great artist's presentation.
They crossed mountain ranges to come hear a cello recital. It is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
And I was so happy that there was a good turnout in Buffalo for that event.
A relationship begins to build with the artists and the audience.
Because of Dr. Thickman, the town of Pine Bluffs has been able to host very talented musicians.
I thought it was really good. Some songs were in different languages, and the opera was really good, and the piano was really good. It kind of inspired me to practice more piano and try to be a good pianist.
Sheridan has a great theater scene and a local performing arts scene, and someone like Cy Thickman, through his support, has really allowed us to have a facility with professional staff that can help the local arts thrive as well.
We have a community theater, and we put on about 5 different performances each year.
So we're up in the attic of the carriage house, where Aaron has transformed this into the house of the Anne Frank family.
They're putting on Anne Frank this week.
My involvement with Cy Thickman has not been on the philanthropic side.
We have a lot of local talent that is not embarrassed about performing.
As much as it's been on the active side of community theater. I've had the pleasure of directing him in several plays. When I was a young girl, he played the part of Otto Frank in The Diary of a Young Girl, which was produced in 1960. I directed a play called The Man with the Plastic Sandwich and needed someone to play the role of a bum, and I just gave Cy a call and asked him, and he read the part and was happy to do that. You know, he loves to see that senior citizens are being taken care of. He's incredibly well-rounded.
Dr. Thickman, he's a legend. People love him. He delivers home-delivered meals for us, and people grab, when he walks through the dining room, they're, "Cy, come here, we want to talk to you." He has long-term relationships in this community, and he's loved.
Congratulations, Dr. Thickman.
But Cy Thickman's an inspiration because he just is like the Energizer Bunny. He just keeps going and going and going. And I would like to emulate him. I would like to be as productive in my retirement as he has been without retirement.
I used to be in the theater there in Sheridan and did a number of plays. I enjoy theater, I enjoy art.
And I hope you'll still continue to be in a play every now and then, because we're not done.
Our little foundation supports art, but to think that this would merit a governor's award was beyond my dreams.
Congratulations, Dr. Thickman, to bring this concert to this town. I really enjoyed it.
I wish you many, many more years of happiness. And I'm really glad that all the family could be here to share this time with you.
The next award goes to individual artist Michael Polson. Michael grew up on a ranch in Cody, Wyoming. His studio is still in Cody, Wyoming, and by his work he captures many of the magnificent views we have in Wyoming and beyond. He's had work in the capital here in Cheyenne. He's had work in Washington, D.C. He's a cancer survivor, and that impacted his life greatly. And through that, and through his work, he has enriched all of our lives.
My heart was here in Wyoming, and the very first, we came during the summer months to the ranch. We had about a 15,000 acre ranch. The very first time I came here and came down from the mountains into Cody, I knew that it just seemed familiar to me, and that this is where I wanted to spend the rest of my life.
It's an incredible story. You know, from his story from being diagnosed with leukemia to now, he's put every piece of energy and passion to every piece of his art.
I'm almost 60 years old, and for a former transplant patient to be doing this, it's unheard of. 3 mornings a week, I go Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays to play basketball. I think going back, with hindsight, of course, the experience enriches your lives and gives you a different perspective.
Michael Polson really embodies the independence, the detail, the spirit of the American West.
If you look at any books about Charlie Russell, you see that he left home and came west at age 13. I also noted that Harry Jackson, famed sculptor and artist, he came west at the age of 13. It just so happened that my 13th birthday was spent here in Wyoming, and I ended up staying here.
You draw from within with painting. It's not just the world as it looks through the human eye. It's the world as it looks through the spiritual and the human eye.
I've been painting since I was 19. I haven't stopped, with the exception of the time when I was blind for 5 months. And for intermediate times when I was really sick with leukemia, I'd still have my easel there next to my bed and still trying to paint.
He has shown his work in Russia, in the U.S. Capitol. He has his portraitures hanging in the Pentagon. When you look at how he has impacted Wyoming's art and showcasing Wyoming and Western art to the world, I think he is a deserving nominee.
The way it has affected me through my painting is I become much more appreciative of the time that I have when I'm feeling good and work. My hours, my productivity is way up over than what even thinking that was my prime. My prime now is really now.
He teaches a class in the winter. I'm trying to grow artists and teaching the techniques.
We're here at the Buffalo Bill Historical Center, where I teach a class on painting from the masters. The whole premise on teaching this class is to learn how to paint like this individual. Take, for instance, Charlie Russell.
He has a lot of patience, which is wonderful, and encourages us, which is important. Just saw this as a really great opportunity to learn and paint with someone like Mike, that opportunity doesn't come along very often, someone of his caliber.
This is a perfect old school method of training of artists in Europe for hundreds of years. They didn't have access to color photographs, books, and so this was the way that they'd come in, set up in front of a painting that they liked, a style perhaps, something that they could learn, and that would help guide them on the way.
Mike, and as a teacher, he brings his background in the works that he's done and his experience doing that and looking at the masters and himself learning from the masters, and brings that to us, the students.
Well, what I think the students particularly are afraid of is of our particular work. But what they realize is that I was in the same place they were.
I've lived here 8 years, but it was one of the reasons that we decided to move to Cody. I liked all the art classes that were available, and the museum itself is wonderful.
Well, Mike is one of the finest artists in the country, and we have him on exhibition here in the Whitney Gallery of Western Art, which is part of the Buffalo Bill Historical Center. So Mike is here with other artists like Thomas Moran and Albert Bierstadt, Frederick Remington, and Charles Russell. I think that Mike's involvement here helps other artists, and when you have a group of artists working of the caliber that Mike is, and then you have other artists who are emerging, that all comes together in a great synergy here in our community.
It's just more for me, it's just relaxation and just being able to, be around other people that are artists.
First met Michael Polson in either 1997, then it would be, when we commissioned him to do a painting for my husband's office in Salt Lake. And it ended up that we bought this ranch, and I called Michael, and it turns out that the ranch was one that Michael was raised on.
I took a test, and I think it was in a comic book. And I was about 16 or 17 years old, and I sent it in, and a representative from the art school came to our home and talked about my parents sending me to this art school. I believe it was in Minnesota. Well, my dad, he told me, quite frankly, that we were land rich but dirt poor. And being a drill instructor and a former Marine himself, as well as his father, I decided to join the Marine Corps so that I could use the GI Bill to put me through school.
He's just so easy to work with. I mean, he'll point out certain things, and just, even if you make a mistake, it's just like, just paint over it.
Michael is one of the few artists that still can do all the elements that draw all the figures together and tell stories. That's one reason why I appreciate the type of art he does.
And that's the one thing great about living here in Cody. The Rendezvous Royale and the art show in the fall.
Because of Mike's involvement with the Buffalo Bill Art Show and Sale for 31 years, he's been quite a champion for not only Cody, Wyoming as a destination place to come to enjoy the arts and the culture we have to offer here, but also to promote new artists. Mike is someone who's always looking for new artists to help them develop in the field he loves so much.
And it's helped me because actually in the last year I've done 2 or 3 of my own little paintings on the side now. So,
congratulations. It's well deserved. You've had a wonderful career, and I wish you the best of luck in the future.
I couldn't be more pleased that this honor goes to him. He just is the embodiment of the perfect artist.
My class is going on. My students have set up their easels and are painting. So let's head to the first student, see what they're doing.
Tonight's Arts Business Award goes to the Eagle Bronze Foundry. I've had the privilege of going through that foundry, and I can tell you it is most impressive. From the work that they do to the workers who produce the work, it is world class. It employs about 55 people. Some of their work is in the governor's residence, but they do work from Saratoga to Sicily. So congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Paddleford for the tremendous work that you do that is world-renowned. We are so proud to have you in Lander, Wyoming. Congratulations.
Bev and Monty are great to work for. They're really compassionate, caring people, and you know, it's like a family environment here.
Monty and Bev Paddleford are honest, hardworking, hometown folks who grew up here in Fremont County, moved away, and they wanted to come back, and they came back and started literally a two-person foundry that has now grown to where it's one of the leading foundries in the world, actually.
Monty and Bev moved to Lander in 1985 after a series of events which Monty would describe as divine intervention. And they moved here to start a church, but they ended up, to make a living, started Eagle Bronze.
That God kind of prepares us for the next stages of our life. And so the sum total of our life's work experiences to that point in time had prepared us for what we were about to do here. Beverly took care of the creative side of training the people of how to do the special skills and the wax work and the metal work and the patinas. And in my background, from the technical side, I was able to do the technical sides on the floor. And so
it's very, very hard work. And we worked a 12-hour day was a short day back for several years.
If you look at the projects that they have done, I mean, these gigantic monuments that, now the artists aren't necessarily from here, but like the famous bull on Wall Street. Recently they did another bull like that for Shanghai, China, for example. I think the Panthers at the Carolina football stadium were cast here. I mean, all the Cabela stores have huge sculptures out front, and they were all cast here. And so it's they've definitely put Lander on the map. If you're a sculptor at a serious one, you certainly know where Lander, Wyoming is.
I'm proud to say it's Lander, Wyoming. And Eagle Bronze, that is attracting artists from not only the United States and Canada, but from all over the world. We applaud Eagle Bronze for their hard work in achieving the status as a leader in the bronze foundry work. I work regularly with Monty and Bev and Matt and the great staff of Eagle Bronze. And folks, there's just no other words for them. They are the best.
We have employees that have been with us for more than 20 years and quite a few, 18, 19 years.
Monty, he'll come up and say, good job, or he'll let you know, and really be earnest about how you're feeling, how you're doing, how things are going in your life. And I was walking to work, and they actually bought me a bike. So, they'll go beyond the call of duty, really, as an employer and everything. And I always remember that.
We're very grateful to them because they are the backbone of this place, really. It's those people that are committed and dedicated to doing it right that have kept us going all these years.
People who deal in the creative nature of things, whether it's writing or composing or painting or sculpting or drawing, because they touch people's emotions, those people have the ability to touch generations.
And in this particular community, we have all sorts of resources available to us, whether it's through the arts with something like Eagle Bronze Foundry.
We had a teacher, an art teacher here in this community that has retired now just a few years ago, but she always brought her art classes through, and she told us once that nothing changed her students the way a trip through Eagle Bronze, a tour. She said even the students that were pretty poor achievers just took a giant leap forward.
We think that with the resources that the community has, they can come in and supplement our instruction to benefit our kids.
Initially we all focus on math and science, and I can identify with that because of course that's where I am. And one of the most frustrating things to do as an engineer is to problem solve with somebody who's creative, because of course we want everything in a box where we can define it. And in the early years, when her and her dad would come and we would solve problems here, because they're creative, they were outside the box, I'm thinking, where does this come from with these solutions? And yet some of the most creative solutions that we came to here came from that kind of thinking. And so we hurt ourselves more society-wise by losing that creative bent than if we just focus on the math and science.
The arts enhance a student's life. Some students are gifted in mathematics, some students are gifted in the area of music. And so I think that it's incumbent upon school districts to be able to meet the needs of students, and if we have students who have some specific abilities in the area of art, they need to have those abilities fostered.
For me, it's been quite an education process. It has taken me a number of years to come to realize that.
The City of Lander is extremely excited that Monty and Bev and Eagle Bronze have won the Governor's Arts Award. They do a lot for our community from an economic development perspective. They create a lot of jobs, and they help make Lander what it is. We love our community, and we're glad that they're here, and we hope they have a bright future.
I feel privileged to be a part of this. I'm really excited for Bev and Monty. I think they've worked really hard and they've earned this award, and congratulations.
Again, there's just, I honestly can't think of any people I know who are finer people than Monty and Bev Paddleford. And this award is perhaps even overdue, but it certainly is well deserved. I'm really proud of them.
Well, I hope you had a great evening. To those of you who received awards tonight, congratulations, because it is not just for you in the work that you do, but a celebration of art in Wyoming. Those of you that receive this award, we know that all of Wyoming is proud of you, so we all celebrate with you. So on behalf of our family, we say to all of you, congratulations.
And that was even worse. And I said, God, I think I may be making a wrong decision. And then we went to Sheridan, and as we flew over Buffalo, it was like a verdant Eden that suddenly came upon, and Sheridan was really lovely.
He has had a studio for many years in Manhattan, in Lower Manhattan, and we get there about once a quarter. We take our 24-foot trailer. It's always kind of funny to drag our dually pickup down Manhattan. You know, I look at Fox News and say, I go down that street.
I mean, I was trial and error, trial and error. I have a closet. These closets are full of trial and errors, trying to take a shortcut. And to me, painting is complicated enough without trying to take shortcuts.
When John Schmidt came, that was really cool. He played with his toes. He played everything on the piano. He was amazing. It was so cool to watch him. And he was just so happy and alive. And even had my little sister. She had never wanted to play piano, and once she saw him, she wanted to.
Congratulations, all the winners!